All right, so if you were watching last night here on WCNC Plus, also on WCNC Charlotte, you heard President Donald Trump's State of the Union speech. In that speech, he recognized the mother of Iryna Zarutska during that State of the Union address in Washington, D.C., as he called on Congress to enact tougher punishments for repeat criminals. I just want to read a little bit what he said. So President Trump said, quote, "We're honored to be joined by a woman who's been through hell," introducing Iryna's mother. And he goes on to say, in 2022, she and her daughter, what a beautiful daughter, so beautiful, and what a beautiful young woman. Iryna fled war-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? So right now on the program, we have Charlotte City Councilman Malcom Graham. He's here in studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity to be back.
You paused a bit, and I guess I want to ask, what's going on with Charlotte? That's what President Trump asked.
Well, first of all, let me say to her family and friends that my thoughts and prayers are still with them. Certainly, I understand the impact of losing a family member due to murder. My sister herself was a victim of a violent crime, and so I get it. What's going on in Charlotte is that we're responding to what's happening on the ground. We certainly responded to the FTA when they had inquiries, to the state auditors when he had questions about public safety in Charlotte. Our leadership went to the General Assembly 2 weeks ago and spoke about public safety in Charlotte. And we certainly addressed some of the issues that we felt that we needed to because of her death. More off-duty CMPD police officers now patrolling the light rail station, more private security out there on the platforms, securing as well. The City Council extended their jurisdiction, so now they can go beyond the platform in some areas to patrol as well. Just doing those things that we have to do to ensure public safety in our city. Uptown Charlotte, for an example, we still have our Uptown Task Force focusing on crime. A press conference just last week talked about more lighting from Duke Energy to make Uptown brighter and more visibly appealing as people are walking around. So we've done that. Private security officers in the parks in Uptown Charlotte. And it goes beyond Uptown Charlotte in reference to public safety throughout the community. In 2025, overall crime in Charlotte is down 9%, violent crime down 21%, property crime down 6%. Focusing on Beatties Ford Road, the area in which I represent, a lot of police activity up and down the corridor, specifically on Catherine Simmons and Beatties Ford Road, working with Mecklenburg County to identify resources for individuals that need help from mental health, substance abuse, directing them to services and programs. We're doing a lot to respond to crime in our city, and as a result of the murder that occurred last year, but in addition, crime is our top priority as a community.
I want to get your reaction to that address. It was a wide-ranging State of the Union. We talked about it before we started recording. You watched it. I watched it as well, and he focused in on Charlotte for that bit. I just want to get your overall reaction to what he said, not just about Charlotte, but overall the address.
I'm extremely concerned about our country. I'm extremely concerned about the leadership that's coming out of Washington, D.C. that impacts everyday people on a wide variety of issues. I'm concerned about issues coming out of the Justice Department. I'm concerned about people being murdered in Minnesota. I'm concerned about people being picked up on the streets right here in Charlotte for being Latino and brown. The tone of the State of the Union address, people still are hurting. Affordability is still a problem and a real thing. Affording housing, grocery, gas, utilities are real things. I think this administration is out of touch with the people. I think when you talk about corruption, you have to call what you see unusual behavior coming out of this administration. And what's more important to me is that men and women of goodwill who know better sit quietly and allow some of these things to happen. I'm really concerned.
I want to make another quote, and I want to get your reaction to this. So President Trump, he called to Carlos Brown, the man accused of killing Iryna Zarutska, quote, a deranged monster, and saying that Brown was released through, quote, no cash bail. I also want to throw in here, too, President Trump also said that Carlos Brown was in the U.S. under, quote, open borders, which that's not the case. But when he said the piece about deranged monster, mentioning no cash bail, the open borders comment, when you heard that, how did that make you feel?
Well, as you indicated, Carlos Brown is an American citizen. He's not an immigrant. The law that was passed by the General Assembly addresses some of the issues here in North Carolina in reference to cashless bail, so that has been addressed. As a family member who has had his sister death being politicized, I see it all over again. The issues and the stats I mentioned when we first started is the policy discussion around public safety. A lot of the discussion that the president talked about yesterday was the political conversation around public safety. I think if we can stay focused on the policy, and if you focus on the policy and if you follow the data, Charlotte is a safe city. We have a new police chief that's doing a tremendous job outreaching and engaging the community, being very visible. And I think that's a part of the story that we have to tell. When he's asking what's happening in Charlotte, Charlotte's doing a lot to be very assertive in terms of addressing our public safety needs in the community. I also chair the city's budget committee, and we're getting ready to go into our budget discussions. 70% of the city's budget is dedicated to public safety, police and fire and emergency preparedness. That same committee that I chair also have intergovernmental relations responsibility with communicating with the state of North Carolina and the General Assembly. A lot of the things that we're asking for in our legislative agenda deals with public safety. More judges, more DAs, more public defenders, more support for mental health and substance abuse, magistrate reform, right? And so we're all in, not because something bad happened to a good person. We're all in because public safety has to be not just what happens on the light rail, but feeling safe in Ballantyne and University City and NODA and Batesford Road and in communities all over the city of Charlotte. We have to take away the politics of crime and focus on the real issues of putting good public policy in place to prevent crime.
You're very visible. How do you get that, and how do you get that message across? I know that's, you've been saying this for a long time, but how do you get that message across throughout the city? And not even, we say often Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. I know you're a city council person, but how do you get that message across the area?
Yeah, because I've said all the time before that if you don't feel safe, you're not safe. So no matter what the stats say, no matter what the data says, people have to feel safe within their own body, within their own community, within their own household. I think it's a joint approach, working with Mark Jarrell and Mecklenburg County, working with the school board to ensure that our kids are safe at school, working with the Alliance and other organizations, doing what Chief Patterson is doing. Last night she was at the Park Ministries on Batesford Road talking about public safety. I've seen her all over town over the last 2 to 3 weeks, right? She's really talking about her vision for public safety and embracing that vision. Went to a meeting last night with neighbors in the uptown area, and we talked about what CMPD is doing in terms of having a specialized entertainment task force, monitoring monitoring the bars and the restaurants and the clubs in uptown Charlotte, right? And so everybody's leaning forward. Everyone's communicating effectively and efficiently. Unfortunately, we live in a world where bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And everyone sometimes, when something happens, wants to point a finger at a program or a person or a thing to blame. Sometimes bad things just happen, and I know that from a family experience. We got to make sure that we got to get public policy in place, right, to protect that and defend families and work with victims and to assure the community that every resources that we have that's being deployed to assist the perception of crime in our community, as well as the reality that sometimes things just happen.
You talked about Iryna's law. For our viewers, it was enacted following the death of Iryna Zarutska. You basically said flat out, you said it plainly, we need the money. We don't have the money here in the area to make this thing go. Where are we right now?
Well, public safety is a team sport, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has to pitch in, and I think that's the question you asked earlier, right? So the county is doing their fair share. The city is doing our fair share, and we need help from the General Assembly, our state government. And again, the committee that I chair works with the General Assembly through our legislative agenda. A lot of the things that we're asking for, and I even brought some of it, our Tier 1 priorities include additional state funding for mental health support for law enforcement, recruitment and retention, increased staffing for the district attorney's office, public defender's office, and the courts. We're also seeking state support to reestablish the local juvenile detention center and supporting House Bill 258 to strengthen penalties for assaults on public transit operators. And so we are serious about having this relationship with state government. We can't do any of those things by ourselves. We need their help. And so not only do they have to pass the law, but they also have to provide the resources necessary so that we can have the foundational support needed here in Mecklenburg County, the largest county and one of the largest in the country for sure, certainly the largest in the state. And 22% of the state's economy comes from Charlotte, Mecklenburg. So you would think that they wanted to reinvest in what we're doing here so we can be safe and secure, so we can produce revenue, not only to support what we're doing here locally, but to support other communities throughout the state of North Carolina.
Do you feel properly supported by our state government, by the North Carolina General Assembly?
I think they can do more, and I say that because I served in the state Senate for 10 years, and I clearly understand how the budget works. I wish they would approve a budget. Let's start there. That was due last year. But I think if you take them to their word, and again, we were there in early February. The mayor testified. The police chief was there. The DA was there. The city manager was there. We were well received. They asked questions. We responded, and they left saying that, hey, we want to have a relationship with the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County to provide support needed to fight crime. That's what they said. Now, I'm an elected official, and I tend to watch what people do versus what they say. I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll keep their word.
One last question before I get you out of here. We keep hearing from President Trump justice for Iryna, and we've heard it from other politicians. What does justice for Iryna Zarutska look like?
I think it's justice for all, right? And justice for victims who were killed because of race and racism and hatred. Justice for her for being on the public transit system. Justice for those two individuals that were killed in Minnesota. Justice for all, right? So we can't be selective based on politics. We have to have a Justice Department that's free and clear from the White House, that can act independently on behalf of the American people. If he wants justice for her and others, We want justice for all, and the way to accomplish that is for him, the president, to take 10 steps backwards and let the Justice Department do its job on behalf of the American people.